of a cold, so there will be some sniffles. Maybe, maybe won't be. And we were chatting about personal stuff, and we realized that being a human being in itself has a component of guilt. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Because the moment I say that, then the Advait philosopher in me has so much else to say.
That's,
But let's
yeah.
talk about.
The world though, and so much of modern upbringing is based on guilt. Um, we're both brought up in Jesuit schools. A lot of the prayers are also forgiveness. Forgiveness for something that you don't even know that you had.
This is very interesting that you're taking in there. I have so much to say, so let's just see where it goes.
Like, forgive us our trespasses.
Yeah, but you know
Like,
what that
what are our
means.
trespasses that are there? There's
The,
to the
the
kid, there's deeper meanings for all of these things, and they're beautiful prayers.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you don't. No one ever explained anything to
I
us.
spoke to somebody yesterday or day before, proper Hindu traditional household person, one of my clients, and but also then very scientific in her approach to spirituality, and has studied Vedanta very well, manages her house very well, very stable person, uh, just a wonderful human being. And she said something that didn't make sense to me, which she said that, all of these Hindu rituals that I have to do in the house, and this puja and that puja and that puja and that puja, I won't be able to pass this on to my children. And I didn't say anything to her, and maybe she'll watch this so she'll know what I actually think. I don't agree. And I don't agree with what you're saying. It's just that there is so much gap that is not understood, and it'll take me a little bit of time to explain this. So the listener and you will both have to be a little patient. Um, what the firstly, it is that we're not explained why. So either never no explanations could exist. Like you then shouldn't be even explained why you need to pull up your socks in school. Right? Then don't explain anything to me. And then slowly, I developed this feeling within me as a human being that what feels good and right, aesthetically good, aesthetically right, what feels like what brings about oneness, that is what I'm following. So then I become a feeling based, I become an intuition based person. You develop me as an intuition based person. And then I go that, I'm going to fold my hands. Because if you actually do fold your hands right now, if anybody does like fold their hands like this and actually brings their awareness to the fact that they've got their hands folded and how that feels within, they'll realize it feels better. It feels more in unison when your hands are folded than when not.
I understand that, but that is a place.
I'm getting to. So that's it. If you've built an intuition based person. But what we've done in our society, which I'm also seeing right now, which is so obvious, we've built logical people. And then we've just given them these spiritual and religious practices, and we've given no logic about these spiritual and religion based practices. And that is a very big gap. I have not so simply recognized this gap in my own understanding by myself before this moment, but it's absolutely clear to me that this is what's gone on. We've raised logical people, right? You go to school, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. You need to know this because 2 apples and 2 apples, and train is traveling at this many kilometers per hour, and 5 men are laying the tracks. How many men are? We've made people extremely logical. The education system is logical, but our spiritual system is completely illogical. That is such a what?
Dichotomy.
Dichotomy.
I wouldn't say spirituals only, but the
Religious.
way of living life is not, and which can be synonymous with spiritual also. But the way of being,
You know that to me it is one.
your way, yeah. So I'm saying that only, that the way of being has, the logic ends at that point of time. School says this logic, पर हमको हाथ क्यों जोड़ना है? नहीं, हम ऐसे ही करते हैं. Prayer क्यों
Yeah.
करना है? ऐसे ही करते हैं.
Yeah.
But
don't ask questions. Like especially the generation that we came from. And that's why I feel our generation, 5-6 years older and 5-6 years younger, I put all of that group in one generation, has a very important role to play. Because a learned, educated woman like her is saying, I don't want to pass on these cultural value traditions onto my children.
I don't want to, or I
Don't
want
want-
to be able to.
I won't be able to because there's no logic there.
Okay.
But there is logic there. It's just that she would have probably been told when she was growing up, don't ask all this. You can't ask questions about God.
Yeah.
But there is no thinking person, no intelligent person who will be able to accept stuff like this without asking questions. I had a very difficult childhood, but you know what I didn't have? What was good about my childhood? I was never stopped from asking questions by my father. I could always ask questions. He may get frustrated trying to answer my question. We may end up in a fight and get up from that conversation not having received the answer. But I was never discouraged from asking questions. So, and religion or spirituality was never thopoed on me. These two things are what probably gave me a very open mindset, along with whatever I carried on in my DNA from previous birth. I believe in it, so I guess I believe in it. So whatever, the platform I got is very unique when it comes to, like, your platform is very different. You were born in an ashram.
And without any understanding of things, those ideas
You just
came-
follow the guru.
You follow the guru, and when you do not, you are told that you need to wake up every morning and you do aarti and you do evening aarti. So you do a prayer every morning. If you don't do that prayer, you don't understand the value
Yeah.
of it. You don't do that prayer, you feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And I found myself only praying when exams are happening.
Yes.
So am I a good person, bad person, or am I a horrible person?
That's what my client said the same thing. She said that it's so fear-based, the whole system of religion.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about fear first, if we're talking like this. Fear is what is fear?
Fear is believing that something will harm me and therefore
Fear exists.
making myself small.
Fear only exists when there is ignorance. Think about it. Right, like back in the hunter-gatherer days,
Yeah, I agree.
trees would suddenly catch fire. And there would be tribes that could look at it as a gift from God, because now they can sit next to the fire and be warm, be safe from tigers and lions. Or they would look at it as God is angry. They didn't know that that is happening because of thunder. So it's fearful. Then I read somewhere, then they figured out how to carry it as mashal, like lamp, like whatever,
Yeah,
what are they called?
torches.
Torches. And then tamed fire. It is evolution then, if we are to just look at this example and understand, only and only comes when something of fear is transcended. So when fear is transcended, that's when evolution comes. So I have come to realize the deep value of these practices, of whether they are Jesuit practices, the prayers we said in school, whether they are the Hindu religious practices, whether they are the practices of just bowing down to the sun in the morning, whether it is a practice that a very personal practice that somebody develops, whether it is sitting down and doing meditation, excuse me, whether it's sitting down and doing meditation, all of these practices, the idea of being surrendered to an energy higher than what my mind can conceive, the story that my mind can make up about me, because my mind always needs proof. So let's say I am the CEO of my company and tomorrow I am fired from my job. That can happen to you, right? You're sitting quite off center, you want to come in. Your clothes are like super dirty. Anyway, because this is the stuff we look at before we set the camera, and then we completely lose that. Anyway, we'll share this podcast anyway. Now, my self-confidence is gone because the mind was only something because of that external title. So, when we look at the fact, well, as people that have lived 35 years of life now, more or less, we both know that life is unpredictable. A real life is always unpredictable. A safeguarded life, you're born into money and nobody... Like, think about the Buddha. He was born into a lot of money. He didn't, and his father safeguarded him. And then he was the one who went out and became the Buddha. Because he realized in his core that what he saw, one person dying, one person aging, and one person sick, and his mind couldn't take it. His mind couldn't take it so much that he left his family. Right? So, he was safeguarded so much that facts of life were enough to just push him. Were what became unpredictability for him. But let's say we know these things. In our day and age, everybody knows this. Even 5-year-olds know about death. But life is unpredictable in ways that will come and hit you. It will come and hit you. What is going to be your base at that time? Now, that base is always different for different people. If I sit and say that I follow Advaita philosophy, I fully understand that it has been a journey, a step-by-step ladder that I have taken to get to this place. And I don't even know what happens from here. This ladder has included all of the various things that we've talked about. In Hindu, in all of these Tripura Sundari sort of texts and many other places, the tantric side of Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma, whatever, I don't know the correct words. There's, and I may not even phrase this correctly, there is Vidyas are given para, apara, para. Like these are words that are given.
Okay.
So these basically mean high quality worship, medium for a high quality sadhak worship, a medium quality sadhak worship, and lower quality sadhak worship. This sort of creates an idea in people's mind that if somebody is sitting and doing puja, they are low quality. Within spirituality, just like within your offices there are ranks, within spirituality they've also developed all these ranks. This person is, they don't know. This person is to just sitting and writing Ram, Ram, Ram. They don't know. This person is to coming up with their own meditations. They are somebody high. This person is just following some book. This is just, these names are given not to like sort of put you in a grade as a sadhak. They just, where is your mind and what cleansing does your mind need at that point? And for that, what is the right? Like anytime you do any segregation and classification, you will put something on top and something at the bottom. It's just that. One is not better than the other. The company is not run because only of the CEO. Right? The middle management and the security staff and the
Every
washroom
single person
cleaner
is needed for
is
the company
as
to
important.
actually, yeah.
So all of these practices are as important. So when I have had the opportunity to spend so many years looking at spirituality from a really unbiased standpoint, and spirituality and religion, I can tell you that there is deep value in all of these practices. It may not be for you, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist and shouldn't exist in this world.
Yeah.
So when people like her or you say that these are only fear-based, I will say they are fear-based because we haven't transcended the fear in them and seen the beauty of them.
Yeah. I like the thing that you said about it being like our fear comes from unawareness, did you say? Was that the word?
Ignorance.
Ignorance. Right. And in this case, also, you're kind of saying that, right? You don't understand the prayer and you've just learned the words of the prayer. The words of the prayer and often the teacher teaching also doesn't understand the words of the prayer. They've just told you to learn it and then you recite it every day.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed
Language.
be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and lead us
Forgive us
and
our
forgive us
trespasses.
our trespasses and lead us not into temptation. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. I used to say this every day, Monday to Friday, in school for however many years, right? I didn't know the meaning of it at all. Now when I look at it in the sense of different, like other ideas, forgive us our trespasses. Because the mind tries to become the doer of every activity. Like I said, now I am the CEO, I am the CEO, I am the CEO. Now, forgive us our trespasses is the mind saying, forgive me for thinking that I am the doer. The trespass is that there is a divine light, a divine energy in me. I am also divine. This is all spirituality, all religion is for the purification of the mind. It's not for any other reason. So it is training the mind to say that forgive my error in thinking that I was the doer. Now when I understand that I am not the doer, then tomorrow when my CEO chair is pulled from under me, the rug of CEO chair is pulled from under my feet, I am still stable. And this is where stoicism comes into play. You neither get too happy when you become the CEO, you can throw the party. There's no problem with that. You can spend lakhs in that party, no problem with that. Do whatever you want to do with it. Understand, because this will offend people, what I'm saying. This will not offend people, this will offend the mind, which wants to believe that everything wrong in the world is not because of evil. There's no evil, it's because of ignorance. I have reflected on this question for many years, because if it is because of evil, then I don't want to waste my time fighting evil. But if it is because of ignorance, then I can put in my energies towards removal of that ignorance from those minds that want to purify themselves. This purification is not because you're dirty. This purification is because wrong information after wrong information after wrong information has been put on you again and again and again and again, and you have believed it and you have imbibed it. Here, every time I say you, I mean the mind. But you're not limited. You're not the limited mind. You're so much more. Right? When you talk about art and the state of flow, don't you get out of your mind to get into that state of flow. So you talk about that process. Then however you talk, I know I'll be able to link it back to here. Because it's not the mind that's the doer. I know this. I experience this. It's hard for me to understand how other people don't experience this sometimes. But when I got an opportunity to see my mind at play, when I got an opportunity to see how the mind can come and do what it can do, that's when I got the appreciation that, oh, this is the condition of our society. So, yeah, how do you get into a state of flow? Like, talk about that.
It's not. It's something that you really allow, and I feel for every person it comes in different ways.
So, talk about your process.
The process also isn't over there. It is just
Talk
staying,
about-
sitting with something, sitting with a pen, taking a few deep breaths, and letting something get drawn. And the letting something get drawn means I will start writing. Obviously, my hand is doing it only, but I will start moving, and then an idea will slowly emerge as to what I am doing. A pattern will start coming. I'll start drawing squares. Then the squares will turn into rectangles. Then the idea of making the rectangles blue will come. Okay, let's put some characters over there. All of this just happens
Let me ask
as
you a
an
question. Let's say something happened and you lost your mind. Right? Do you believe you would still be, if you were put with a pen and a paper, would you still be able to make art?
I have no idea about that, because my starting point is still through the mind. It's still my entrance into any state of flow. I enter states of flow also while writing. Now, there's an editing version of me that comes, which is my mind that comes in. But when I'm just writing and it's like as close as the thoughts that come to me, those flow out on the paper, then I see myself write things that I didn't know that I knew also. And that happens also sometimes
that's
in
not the
talking.
mind.
That's not the mind.
You
The
know,
mind
every
comes when
time-
I stop and then I go back and be like, that word is not right.
Every time I record a podcast, I go back and I hear it and I'm like, wait, I didn't even know I said that.
Yeah.
So, that what I'm trying to say is that there is the mind and then there's the higher mind. The mind that is not influenced by your conditioning. You don't always, psychotherapy will tell you that you can only transcend a condition that you're aware of. It's not necessary. You can transcend conditions without knowing the contents of that condition also. It helps to transcend it easy for the logical mind, because it can just say, oh, I drink milk in the morning even though I'm lactose intolerant, because that's what my parents put me in the habit of. Okay, it makes no sense for me to do that anymore. So for the logical mind, finding out what that conditioning is helpful for the reason, right?
It has to be an equation, okay?
It has to be an equation. Why
A
should I
plus
stop?
B, now I'm going to I have to minus some things to be able to
But
get to C.
understand what this discovery was about. This discovery was about finding out that drinking milk is not good for me anymore, right? Because I'm lactose intolerant, obviously there is outcomes that I don't prefer when I drink milk. If you're able to only and only see this also, and you don't remember the conditioning, can you still stop drinking milk? You can now. I'm taking a very basic example.
Yeah.
Let's say I meet with that happening where I lose my mind, but out of habit I'm drinking milk in the morning. And lose my mind meaning lose my memory. I'm drinking milk in the morning and then I notice, every time I drink milk my stomach goes bad. Now I don't remember that conditioning, but I will still be able to give up that conditioning. This I'm saying to prove that you don't need to know the root cause. If you know the root cause, it helps. But you don't need to know the root cause to transcend something.
It's a thing of people just suddenly like giving up a bad habit, right? You suddenly stop smoking. Now, why you smoked is because it gave you ease because of some tension that you held always. But one day your identity changes, and then
Yeah.
you're not smoking.
So
You didn't
what I
you
call
didn't resolve
conscious
that.
human evolution, it's basically you are able to speed up your own evolution by letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. Even my CD, even my stairwell included knowing the condition to be able to let go of the condition. But I'm saying don't be tied to that idea because that's another conditioning, that's another belief. Right? After you do something 10 times, you've got to come up with a system that helps the system be better than you doing it individually. Does that make what I'm saying make sense? Yeah. Like, is it it's explained already, right? By the way I said it. So, how did we get to conditioning? Yeah. So, tying it all back, I think, because it's 26 minutes now. Logically, we were raised. Were asked to do all our worldly things logically. So we became logically bent. Then we are asked to do all our spiritual things illogically. That doesn't work. We have two parts, our logical part and our intuitional part, and both have to be used in balance. Or you become so in tune that your in tune part, your higher mind takes over, and that's a journey for people. It takes a while. I've dedicated number of years exclusively to this work. Even now I find the logical part of my mind coming and being Harvey to me, like, what's the word for Harvey, like attacking me. And now when it attacks, it's a different level of an attack. So you let the higher mind take over. You really truly surrender the purification of the mind, the surrendering of the logical mind, where I know I'm not the doer, but I'm here experiencing everything, enjoying everything, making, like, like the higher mind made yummy pancakes today. But it's not like the logical mind couldn't sit and appreciate the pancakes. There's nothing wrong with that. But if something is causing a problem in you, like that milk for the lactose intolerant drinker, now you know something has to be done about it. So the forgive us for our trespasses within that prayer is for that logical mind. But it's not been explained. So the logical mind will ask, why am I saying this? If I am the one that's studying hard and coming first, then why am I having to forgive me for my... It feels wrong. Because all of it is being put somewhere in the air. The foundation has not been laid. And it's very important that the right foundation is laid. That you are here for a blip, for a passing period of time. And you have a right to enjoy, and you have a right to be happy. Not only that you have a right to enjoy and be happy, that is what you are here for. But you have to know how to get that, right? That's a lovely, it sounds like a lovely outcome, but how do you achieve that really? And that's where removal of ignorance helps. Not helps. It is the only thing that helps in reality. It's the only thing that will consistently help. It is the only thing that will help young people. Otherwise, every individual will have to have a full lifetime of experience to get something. So you spent your whole life trying to understand a portion of life because you didn't have a foundation. So every mistake you had to make on your own. But then you have so many more desires that are unfulfilled, that you come back and then you start from scratch. Because again, you got certain things, the logical mind got certain things. You can't carry that into the next birth. You only carry what you really, in your foundation, when an earthquake happens, let's compare the earthquake to death. and the building structure falls down, however well the foundation was built, that much you will have to do less work in rebuilding that building. And getting that building, whatever the purpose of that building is, to come to life, to live it out, and then be one with space again. You know, right? Like all buildings are in space. Everything is in space. Like somebody can say this is my land, but nobody can say this is my space. Like when you open your window, what comes in is space, literally space. Not it to you it looks like the atmosphere or the pollution or the air, but think meta, it's literally space coming in. So when the building is destroyed consciously, then that space is again looks like space has taken over, right? So that's what I'm comparing life to. When you consciously reach a place where now you don't need to come back and live, the logical mind will probably not will have dozed off at this point or will be abusing me at this point. But that means the purpose of that life has been met. And you moving towards that purpose is a very joyful journey. You moving around in circles is a very painful journey. And for how long do you want to do it? I believe our world needs those prayers and those ideas. But if you're raising a logical world, then logically explain why they're needed. Or start to raise a more intuitive world where I don't need to tell the kid is only folding its own hands, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I can learn from that kid. We're just confusing kids and adults out of ignorance, and it's really time to stop that.
Yeah. End of podcast.
End of podcast.
Cut.